Welcome to Sacred Spaces Advanced School of Ancestral Communication. I am Queen Carlenia Springer, and it's an absolute pleasure again to come here and to share information about our identity as Afro-Rakani and Afro-Right Kite people, African Black people, and those words literally mean offspring, male and female, of the Creator and the Creatress, descendant through the divine land at the dawn of creation, before the continents split apart. So, regardless of our ethnicity, this is who I am speaking to. I have come to speak the truth and to set the scales of justice in their proper place among those who have no voice. And it is our people all over this planet who today have found themselves in a place where their voices seemingly are not heard. I wanted to tell you, I come to bring you another message that your voices are heard in realms beyond that which you can imagine. And we have the capacity to restore divine order to our lives. We have the capacity to restore divine order to our world. And it is happening at levels that are unseen, soon to be seen. And that quote where I said, um, I have come to speak the truth and to set the scales of justice in their proper place among those who have no voice. That comes from the Pert M. Harut, the so called Egyptian Book of the Dead. But when you translate that, it actually translates to the Book of Coming Forth by Day. That is what our ancestors and our ancestresses called it. The white people who were looking and trying to discover themselves in Egypt back in the day, the Egyptologists, they found these texts in the tombs of the pharaohs, and so they called these texts the Egyptian Book of the Dead. But the actual translation is the Book of Coming Forth by Day. I want you all to really pay attention to that, because that misinformation has followed us for a very long time. And I also want you to understand, oftentimes, things are held up to us, and we are shown people and personalities and faces, and and it appears that they are the problem. And if you remove them, you can resolve the problem. The reality is that the people that are put before us are not the ones who are controlling all of this. You'd be surprised to find out that behind all of this, there are those who look like you and me. A small number of those who look like you and me. And so the battle has been hard. The battle has been fierce. The battle has been strong, but we, as Afro Rakanu and Afro Right Kaitnu, we are connected to the highest levels of creation and divinity within this universe, within this world. And so we don't run from the fire, we don't run from the fight. We stand for truth and for justice and for righteousness. Now, this emblem that I'm wearing is the goddess Ma'at. That word may be familiar to some of you, and to others, you may not know who that is. When you hear me talk about the Abosa, the Orisha, the spirit forces in creation, Ma'at is a spirit force in creation. And it's not just Ma'at. We often hear about Ma'at, but we don't hear about Ma'at. So let's just bring it right back home, right? I'm very close to Washington, D.C., where the Supreme Court is located. And if you go to the Supreme Court, before you walk up those steps, there are two very white, well, all these buildings are very white, but there are two white images, statues. Um, on the left is a male, and on the right is a female. And the left is Father Justice and Lady, what do they call her? Lady, maybe Lady Justice. Lady Justice and Father Justice, or Father Law and Lady Justice. Those are whitewashed images of the Abosom Ma'ah and Ma'at. So when we don't know our identity, when we don't know our family, when we don't know our mothers, our ancient mothers and fathers, we see these things and we have no idea what they are or how they even relate to us. And I want you to understand, Afro-Wakani and Afro-Kaitni people, that all these things that you're seeing in the news with the countries, the alliances and the fighting and all of that, they have to do with you. It appears like it has nothing to do with you. With the more you research who you are, you begin to understand that this has everything to do with you. Why are they rushing to implement artificial intelligence? You walk with your own AI. You walk with an ancestral intelligence that operates in real time. But we have been deceived. We have been lied to. Our information has been taken, stolen, corrupted, and fed back to us as words from Father God. And it is a lie. It is words from the white men and the people who stand behind them that control the wickedness that has been unleashed on this planet. And so I wanted to share with you, or just show you, I have here printed out the 42 confessions of Ma'at. What we know of as the Ten Commandments was actually stolen from here. This is thousands and thousands of years old, long before any Bible or Quran existed. Long before any Bible or Quran have existed. I will just read the confessions. It's not a thou shalt not, it's I have not. And so this is an English translation, but I have not committed sin. I have not stolen. I have not slain men or women. I have not cursed. I have not closed my ears to truth. Let's see this one. I have not worked evil. I have not spoken angrily or arrogantly. I have not placed myself on a pedestal. And up here you will see that there's images of the scale. And on one side is the heart, and on the other side is the feather. That's called the feather of Ma'at, the feather of the goddess Ma'at. And so when our heart is weighed against the scale, if weighed against, I'm sorry, the feather, if our heart is as light as a feather, then we're operating in divine balance. We're operating in divine order. Now we're taught that, at the end of our life, we go through this life review and judgment where our heart is weighed against that feather, and if it balances, then we can go on. But if it's imbalanced, then there's something else that's going on. Well, within our culture, we understand that this doesn't just take place at the end of our life. This is a everyday occurrence. We have a responsibility as Afro-Rakani and Afro-Kaitni people to review every intention, every thought, every action, and so that it aligns with divine order. And that means there's a constant communication, there's a constant flow of communication between us and Mother, Father, God via the abosom that they assigned to govern our head, our divine consciousness. That divine consciousness is a small portion of the divine consciousness of Mother and Father God. And the abosom, the Orisha, they operate only in alignment with Mother and Father God. And so when we align with them, this is where we can hear, go here, do this, stop, stand, wait. I want you to understand this is more than intuition. This is more than what some would call psychic communication. There is a difference between psychic communication and spiritual communication. There is a difference, and the difference is our communication with the abosom, with the Orisha, is spiritual communication. Everybody does not have the capacity to communicate with them. We, as the original human beings on this planet, are the only ones who have the capacity to communicate with them. And because of that, we have the capacity to restore divine order to our lives and to this world. We just heard about Carmelo Anthony, the young man who was convicted of murdering a young white man, young white guy who actually was attacking him. He was defending himself, and Carmelo Anthony was convicted. And then there's the other young man that was shot in the back, a 14-year-old child shot in the back by an Asian store owner. And the Asian store owner um, was found not guilty. And of course, there's outrage in our community, understandably. But we have to come back into communication in the way that we were created to communicate. Because when we come back into that level of communication, then we're able to protect ourselves, we're able to protect our children because we hear in real time what to do, when to do it, who to connect to, how to connect to them, when to wait, when to stop, when to go. We're given moment by moment instructions. And this is not your regular, like I said, this is not regular what we would consider